Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dech Teck. Today is a very special episode because I'm recording this probably a good month before I'm actually going to release it, because I'm doing a little secret lair deck exchange. I have my good friend Brad. Brad, if you're watching, hello. Thank you for watching. But I'm going to release this after we do the exchange because I don't want to spoil nothing in case he sees this early. The prompt I was given, he wants to play some mini games in the game. I had a little list, and I picked the best colors for them and the best abilities. So what I brewed up for my buddy. Oh, we had a budget too. I guess you should say that. I went a little over budget. I got some cheaper versions of some of the cards, but a couple of the cards I couldn't get very cheap, but I went a little over. We're supposed to aim for $50. I think this deck ended up costing $60, just because I couldn't cut one card to make it 50, and I'll explain when I get there. But the deck I am brewing, if you couldn't tell already from the thumbnail, is Anhelo, the Painter. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. He is a 1/3 with Death Touch, and the first instant or sorcery spell I cast each turn has Casualty 2, which means as I cast, I can sacrifice a creature of power 2 or greater, and when I do, I can copy that spell. Choose new targets. It is blue, black, red, and it's all about doing the shenanigans more than once. I have some other stuff in there, try to make it fun for him. I play with him a lot, but he does play different types of decks where this seems like a deck he doesn't have yet that maybe he'll enjoy. But we'll see how that goes. I got the thick cardstock because it saved a little bit of money for the rest of the deck. And I think it's kind of neat just to be able to play that kind of card. So, like I said, the prompt was, we had a few of them. I picked the best one, most interesting one. He wanted to play mini games. And I'm a big fan of this card. It's one of my favorites. It's probably the biggest card in the deck, price-wise, where it's really hard to get a nice cheap one. It's a little darned up on the top there. You can see in the sleeve, but we'll see how that works, right? What this does, Choice of Damnations. Target player chooses a number. You may have that player lose that much life. If I don't, sacrifice that many. All but that many permanents. It is a really fun card because if you pick a big number, you're losing in life. Pick a small enough number, you're sacking down to that. So you have to find a good balance, and you copy it at least once. It's kind of fun, right? Another one we have here is Thieves' Auction. Set aside all cards in play starting with you. Each player chooses one of the cards set aside and puts it into play tapped under his or her control. Repeat this process until all those cards have been chosen. I don't know if you'd want to copy this, but it's definitely one of those cards that's a lot of fun to play. By fun, I mean annoying, and you're playing with your buds. Seize the Spotlight. Each opponent chooses Fame or Fortune. For each player who chose Fame, gain control of a creature they control until end turn. On tap it, they gain haste until end turn. And for those who chose Fortune, you draw a card and you create a treasure token. Hostile Negotiations. Exile top 3 cards of your library face down in a face down pile. Then exile top 3 cards of your library in another face down pile. Look at those cards in each pile. Turn a pile of your choice over. And the opponent can choose if you put that into your hand. And the other in your graveyard. Then you lose 3 life. So this is a weird card. I had to read it again because it's been also I played it. I don't know. This seems like it'll be a fun little mini game, especially be able to copy it more than once. And everyone's favorite, Fact or Fiction. Had to get the foil because I just like the foiling on this. It's a lot of fun too. Same thing. Top 5 cards. Opponent separates those cards into piles, and put one pile in your hand, the other in the graveyard. So if they separate it, you choose. Also fun to copy. Speaking of copies, we got a couple copy spells here. Verberate, copy target instant or sorcery, choose new targets. We have a little split one, mainly for the first half. Copy target instant or sorcery command has more or less. This be more for copying or reverberate. Some of these have specific things saying it can't be copied. We'll see in a little bit. But I put that in there mostly for the copy spell, because these other ones are pretty expensive. But I figured he can do what he wants with it. An explosion deals some damage and draw cards. And then have Display of Power. It says specifically it can't be copied, but then you copy any number of target instances or sorceries. Choose new copies. 2 targets for the copies. This is the other one of the big ones. If I could cut this one from the deck, it'd probably make it $50. But this is too good not to have in there. Copy target instant sorcery, then return to the owner's hands, and we choose 2 targets for the copy. So you can copy and then get to cast spell again. So I guess one more time. There's going to be some weird stuff happening with this deck, I'm sure. I hope Brad likes it. And when you cast your next instant sorcery spell this turn, copy it X times, and we choose 2 targets for the copies. Again, I don't know. I hope he likes it. There's a lot of instances of sorceries you could copy. I'm going to say that word a lot, but there's a lot of good stuff in here to create chaos, and that's the kind of deck I like to build. Chaotic, fun decks. A couple counter spells: negate, cancel, shock. If you want to copy this a couple times, probably end the game pretty good. You do the Storm King's Thunder for a bunch, and then this. Tragic Slip is one of my favorite removals. Gets around the indestructibility by just making it -13. Good old-fashioned removal with Murder. Destroy a creature. Some workaround. My buddy J-Ro's favorite card, Unsummon. And Repulse. But you get to draw a card as well. Treasure's Instinct. I always had a soft spot for this crazy art. You can control somebody's creature till turn. Pump it up. Give it haste. Smack him in the face for it. Maestro's Confluence, I added just because it has some modes, get some other stuff going. There's a charm in here too somewhere we'll look at as well, where I think this be a good including for the colors, but also just kind of give some more targets for copies where you can do a couple things a couple times. Removal, goading things, and returning stuff. Mostly returning instants and sorceries. Brass's Bounty, again, 7 costs, kind of expensive, but if you can copy this a couple times, you get a decent amount of treasures. Raise Dead. We're going to have a few sack outlets for that, what's it called? Casualty. I forgot what it's called for a second. To help recur a couple things, and I have some other shenanigans in there for that. This is one of my favorite cards. I think this costs a little bit too, but I had to include it. When you cast it, flip a coin. If you win the coin flip, take an extra turn. Copy this a few times. Take a couple extra turns, hopefully win the game. Another one of my favorite cards for Spellslinger decks like this, where you just make a bunch of tokens for your instants and sorceries in your graveyard. We have Gravecrawler in the deck, so that's a good include to help him out. Same with this one, Amass, where you just get a real big beater for how many instants and sorceries you get in your graveyard. You can amass, again, just to have another zombie in the field. Zombies as well, get 2 of them. Again, casualty, sack outlets. This will give you one big one. You might be able to swing out a few times, but I think that's more just to have it on there so you can have Gravecrawler come back a few times. Callous Dismissal, again, bouncing stuff, but also gives you a little zombie. Drawing cards, discarding. Again, getting a little zombie. One of my favorite cards. Will not acknowledge the little penis fish on the corner there, but getting to stack your deck a little bit, looking for stuff, fishing around. Same thing with Ponder, getting to look for some stuff. Divination, drawing cards. Scrying and drawing. One of my favorites. Dig Through Time. Delving, and then also looking at the top of your library. Brainstorm. I probably could have saved a little bit of money, but I love this print on this card. But I had to gift it away. I think you'd enjoy that. Everyone loves a good Brainstorm. This could count as a land drop because it could flip into a blue. Comes in tap though. But again, looking at the top part of your library and trying to find some stuff. And again, a good copy target where it has multiple modes. You could do some damage, or look at the top cards of your library. Dealer's choice. Like I said, this is a deck for somebody else, not so much for me. I try to include a lot of options to kind of make it, one, more than anything, fun. You want to have a good time, but also I think Brad really enjoys some of the stuff I put in here. This is actually a lot cheaper than I thought it would be. It's the reprint of 11 for the Secret Lair homogenization, gentrification, whatever, removing the property from so you can still reprint it. There is some card draw in here, but not enough probably to get him to 11 cards in hand. I don't have Reliquary Tower in here because I don't have a spare, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. I don't think he's going to have enough to have this come up, but I do like you draw a card and lose a life, and there is some stuff you can do there if he does get up to that. Mainly just for the colors, and I really like the card. Halo Forager. You can pay X when it enters the battlefield, and cast instant sorcery for mana cost X from the graveyard without paying its mana cost. If it would be cast, it gets exiled instead. Again, interesting card. Do a little recursion, cheap snap caster kind of effect, but also that 3/1, it can be casualtied to get something else. Carmella almost made this the commander. She has an ability you can add 3 mana by paying 1 and tapping her, and then using that to cast instants or sorceries. Then when it dies, return target instant or sorcery to your graveyard, from your graveyard to your hand, rather. Also, casualty outlet. I felt like Anhelo would have a better effect ultimately. Really wish this guy was a 2/2, but Archaeomancer is nice to be able to have some stuff recurring back to your hand if you would so need it. Wizards of They Them Myriad makes instant sorceries cost 1 less, and you can cast sorceries as though they had flash. So it makes all your stuff instants. Also, you'll see a lot of these. There's no other reason to have it in here, but a lot of these have high enough power to be sack outlets for the casualty, which is nice. We have Mocking Sprite, instant sorceries cost less, 2/1. We have Haughty Djinn. Oh, I just realized I got him. I don't think I was on purpose getting a little stamp promo, but still. Equal to number of instant sorceries in graveyard, making them cast less. Gets big enough, you can sack them. Blue and red spells cost 1 less. Regenerate. Unfortunately, 1/1, but getting your stuff to cost less is always a good thing in my book. Magnus costs less for each creature token you control. Again, if you have enough zombies, and when he has the ability, when he does damage, he makes a token. I think you can probably do some work with this. This seems like a good include. There's another 30k or 40k card in there I'll talk about in a little bit. Goblin Electromancer, again, making stuff cost less. 2/2, good casualty outlet. Barrel, making stuff cost less. I don't think you're going to get too much because you only have a couple counter spells in here to draw the cards, but I think the making stuff cost less will be a lot more useful than that. Errant Street Artist, Defender Haste Flash, and you can copy spells. Everyone's favorite, Kark the Thumbless. When you cast it, instantly flip a coin. If you lose the flip, return a spell to its hand. If you win it, copy that spell and then choose a new target. So, a little fun shenanigans in here with being able to copy stuff. And I think copy the copies. I don't know. There's some wording that I'm not going to get too far into on this, just to kind of going over some of the stuff I want to put in here. Dualcaster Mage. Again, copying stuff. Zevlor. You pay 2 and tap them. And you cast instant sorcery that targets a single opponent or single permanent opponent controls this turn. For each other opponent, choose that player in permanent control. Copy that spell for each permanent or player. This will be really good with Tragic Slips, some of the burn spells, a lot of stuff in general. Plus the right colors. This is really useful in this deck. Cast Dissident Mage. You may cast instant sorcery from a graveyard and exile. Auto include, I believe. Not quite enough to be the commander, but still pretty good, right? Storm Chaser Chimera. 2, a red and a blue. Scry 1. Field top card library. Gets +X/+0 to unturn where X that card's converted mana cost. This one, I don't know. If I could find something better to put in here instead, probably would get swapped out, but I do like that little ability there. Plus it's a good sack out. Scrying is good. It's in there. It could be replaced with something better. I haven't found something better yet compared to what I got, but a flyer that can get pretty big is also a pretty good deal. Pink Horror. Another one of my favorites from this set, the 40k. When casting instant sorcery, deals 2 damage to any target. So you can blast people whenever you're copying spells, as long as it says the cast. Casting the copies. It has to be cast. I get a little confusion whenever I talk about that verbiage, but at least you'll be casting a lot of sorceries and instants and sorceries in this deck. So it's pretty good to still have that ability. Again, probably could get cut, but I just have a soft spot for this card. And also, when it dies, it makes tokens. Again, sack outlets. What can you do? We got Baral and Kari Zev. First Strike Menace. When you cast your first instant or sorcery each turn, you may cast with lesser mana value that shares a card type with it from your hand without paying its cost. If you don't, you can create a sack outlet, a 2/1 red monkey. So if you don't copy it, or cast a free spell, you get a way to copy spells, which I think is pretty good. We got Talrend. When you cast instant sorcery, make a 2/2 Drake. Again, making those little sack outlets for the casualty. It all came together really good for some of these, and I just think once he gets this, if he wants to upgrade it, there's a lot of room for upgrades, especially with that cost restraint. But I think he will really enjoy some of this. My buddy Jadar, not sure how to pronounce that, but makes a token each upkeep, end step. Again, casualty outlet. Saruman, really like this card, just wanted to find room in it for this. When you cast non-creature spell, mass X, where it's that spell's mana value, again, casualty outlets, but it also gives your goblins and orcs ward, which, if you make an orc army, that works, but I think it's also lets you put +1s on an army of control, makes it into an orc as in addition to zombies. I'm not sure how that works. I haven't played that yet, haven't looked too far into it, but token generation is the name of the game, especially when you're casting big stuff for later in the game, excuse me. And we got my favorite, Gravecrawler. Another one of the more, not expensive, but he's like $4 or $5 still. Makes it hard for a budget deck, but he can keep coming back. As long as you have a zombie on the battlefield, he can keep coming back. Solemn Simulacrum. Again, a good sack outlet 2/2 for the casualty. Also very good for a deck like this. And one of my newer favorite cards, Tenacious Underdog. Again, good sack outlet for 3/2. You can cast it from your graveyard for the blitz cost. It's kind of expensive, but if you need to get up there, you can do it, right? Then next we have the only enchantment. You'll never guess why I put it in here. When you cast your first instant or sorcery, each turn a copy of that spell, you may choose targets for the copy. So some of these copies don't say, cast. So some of the stuff doesn't work as good as I wish it would, but still really useful for a lot of this, right? Then we got our first artifact, Twinning Staff. Another one of my favorites, where if you copy one or more spells, it's a copy that many times plus an additional time. So you're just making copies left and right. He has built-in ability too, where you can copy something for 7 mana. May not happen too often, but I like that first ability more than anything. Next two artifacts are, I don't want to say auto includes, but mana generation. I like Soul Ring, I like Arcane Signet. There are mixed opinions on that. I was going to put a Chromatic Lantern in here, but that's just, the price wasn't quite right for the budget, so I figured not to. On to the lands. I believe I have 35 or 36, I forget how many there were. Crumbling Necropolis and Command Tower. Tap for the colors of a commander. Dodoy. I put the 3 Dominaria dual lands in here. I realize you can't search for these, but these are my favorite of the cheap come-in tapped duels that I just like to use, especially if he upgrades it. There's a good way to upgrade from there. The next 3 cards are 5 cards. Searching out basics. We got Ash Barrens with basic land cycling. Grixis Panorama. You can search for an island, swamp, or mountain. Maestro's Theater. Same thing. Island, swamp, or mountain. And then Terramorphic and Evolving Wilds. Basics. Same thing. Island, swamp, or mountain. And then the basics. Mostly blue. A little bit of red. A little bit of black. So, really hope he enjoys this deck. Just want to do a little Dech Teck video because, one, I'm pretty proud of it. I came out pretty good, I believe. And I'm pretty excited to see what he thinks of it and see how it performs. So, hopefully, pretty good. I mean, is there any winning among friends? I don't know. I'm going to put this back in order so when he sees it, he can look at it a little nicer. I'm going to fishbowl a little bit, so this might not be the final build. I'll have a deck list as well, so you might see some different cards in that list. We'll see. Like I said, I think at the point of recording this, the actual exchange is still about a month away. We'll see how that goes, and maybe I'll post a little update video about what happened, and I'll talk about the deck I got. Do a little mini Dech Teck on the deck I got built too. So, stay tuned for that. And Brad, thank you for watching. I love you. And for everybody else, I love you too. I ended on a weird note. So I'm going to have to restart my little outro and say, as always, love you.